Hey everyone, welcome to the show today. I'm with my friend Leonard out in Seattle. Leonard, how are you doing today?
I'm doing quite well. And yourself?
Yeah, wonderful. Nice day, and hopefully good weather where you are. And you're doing a lot of interesting things in the Seattle market, and I know that our listeners are going to be really interested in what you're up to and some of the niches that you found. But before we jump into that, maybe you could just share a little bit about your background professionally and what made you decide to start getting involved in real estate projects.
Absolutely. Yes, my background professionally was I've been in computers ever since basically my college days in the
Hmm.
computers industry. Became a database modeler basically. Well, I built databases, mini databases for the companies. But after a while, things has changed, gotten old, and the market has changed, the skill sets has changed in that area. So I left that area and started doing something different because as I get old, I need to go and think about my retirement.
Sure.
So I got into real estate because real estate is the one of the best options to get into. And I want to do some fix and flip some houses as well as wholesale them, flip them to somebody else to fix and flip them. So, and then I learned, since I was in, in a basic main company, like working for a main company, I had a substantial retirement plan,
Sure.
401k plan. And with that 401k plan, I learned that you could self-direct it into real estate. And then that's just ding ding, that's a plus, Now, why else? I should do something like that. So I did. I've self-directed some of my 401k money into purchasing homes up in Michigan and land and Florida. And then I did REITs, government REITs with my 401k plan, self-directed. And I said, well, other people could do the same thing, as well with their 401k plan and start making, put more money into their both retirement plans, building for their future and their family's future. Because that's why I kind of focusing on as well. Because, I have family and I also need to have some help in that area, building the wealth for the future. Because we all, as we get old, money doesn't come as easily as it used to,
Right.
and it's changing around us all the time. And one of the things with real estate, appreciates. It doesn't really depreciate much. It always appreciate with time, with cost. And nowadays, we don't know about with deflation, how that's going to take place in the future. You know, where the money is devaluated. So real estate is the best hedge against that.
Absolutely. So when you were getting involved in private lending for the first time with your own self-directed IRA, how did you know what kind of deals to invest in or what kind of borrowers to work with or things like that? How explain how that journey is, because a lot of people who just are only stock market, it can be kind of a big jump. How did you like navigate that journey and figure out how to do it successfully?
Well, some was successful, some was not. Most of the beginning was not successful because I didn't think about who I was investing with, type of people, type of project I was investing with. And and I did have a few incidents where I lost money, and I had to foreclose on some houses, type of thing, because of that. But but from that, I gained a lot of experience. Now I want to take the experience where I learned from it and move forward, you know, and then also teach other people what to avoid as well, basically. And that's one thing I like. The book that I have kind of represents some of that. It gives you the idea. Okay, these are the pitholes that you want to avoid, and this is the best practices you need to go forward with.
Right. Yeah, that's huge. What do you think would have changed for you? So yeah, so you're a published author, and congrats on the new book, teaching people what to do, how to. It's basically, if I'm understanding it correctly, kind of the how-to guide to get involved in the private lending real estate space and not make the mistakes that you made. Is that kind of where we're
Exactly,
going with that?
exactly. That's where we're going with it, basically, because
So.
you don't want to, even though you don't really lose money, with real estate, but
Mhm.
because you always have to once you always have the real estate, you can make money off it. But there are people, who trying to cheat you out of money, on the other side of it. And some people, the ones you get the property in your hand, I mean, once they have the using the property and your money, they tend to sometimes don't do what they say they do.
Right.
You know, vet these folks out. Who's a
Cool.
good person, who's the bad ones, basically.
And so I think in your book, you have a chapter in there that just focuses on that and how to really vet out the borrower and make sure the questions that you need to think about and ask before, you actually take your hard earned money
Yep.
and share it with somebody else. What were some of the like one or two red flags that now and is in the book, but the Leonard from many years back when you were getting started doing this didn't know? What would you tell yourself? What do you know now that you would tell yourself back then that maybe would have helped you avoid some of those big mistakes?
Well, one of the things is to make sure that person has some capital himself to help, go forward with on that project. you know. So sometimes you just, oh, here's some money. I guess money here. I trust you.
Right.
No, that doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Having some of their own skin in the game, and then some capacity if something goes sideways to cover it. Because I
And they do,
found.
that's right. They do go sideways. Projects do. They
Mm-hmm.
always there's something that goes on that hicks up, and the person either looking for more money and coming back to you for more money. You don't want that. You want to avoid all those issues beforehand. Yep. So in
Very.
other words, the person has to be a little bit seasoned with this project. Know
Mm-hmm.
knowing what he does, and also have his people, his team of people, contractor, all that, to help back him up.
Right. Okay, so that's some really good insight as to what to look for the actual borrower or the deal maker. What about the deal? How many times when it goes wrong is it a function of it not being a good deal? And what do you teach people now? And you would have taught yourself back in the day, that now to watch for when you're really evaluating is something a good deal or not?
Well, a couple of times I did overpay, you know,
Mm,
and when overpay you don't want to do, especially. So you had to vet the property out itself. Make sure the property is worth what it's think is worth. Get appraisal on the property, a good one. So if that doesn't happen, and if you don't know the cost of the property and the amount of work that goes into it, because I was new, really wasn't paying much attention to how much work I thought the person did. That's not the case sometimes. So
sure. Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So if you don't mind, maybe, just let's kind of maybe walk through, you don't have to use names, but maybe just kind of walk through that first deal. How did you find the person to even get involved with? What did it sound like to you? And then kind of how it transpired.
it was one of the deals what I was got involved with an organization, real estate organization,
Okay.
and young kid to come around, and I thought he had some experience in it. At least he said he did, but he didn't.
Hmm.
And so I just jumped right on in, had to DJ because I was excited about this. I wanted to go forward with it. Didn't do anything. So that was the wrong thing. Now, when I think back on it, I was stupid.
Sure.
It says, but like I says, sometimes it's it's good that you jump into it, make all the mistakes, and you learn from the mistakes. You
Hmm.
don't let the mistakes stop you because you know that real estate is the best way to go forward. So you
Right.
use those mistakes and learn from it and move forward. So that way you don't repeat those again.
So,
So the same thing I want to do. Help folks out there. That's why the book is available to help them not make the same mistakes I made, in the beginning.
that's huge. So how do people get a copy of your new book? What's the best way for them to reach out to you and get a copy of this book, whether it's electronic or physical?
Best way right now is my website. Send me an email on my website. Not my website, but send me an email. My email is crystalspring98188 gmail.com.
Okay, say that one more time. So it's Crystal Spring.
Crystalspring98188 at gmail.com.
Very cool. Very cool. So why don't we pivot a little bit? I think you gave some good clarity and ideas, and I want to make sure I understand it correctly. So if somebody's thinking, so there is a way that you can self-direct, 401k monies into a self-directed, custodian. You can get involved in real estate as a lender, as a participant in deals. And, if I'm hearing you right, is that you you were aligned a little bit more with the real estate company when you got started than an individual. There was an individual that was a part of it. They
Right.
said they kind of had the experience that they didn't. And when things started going a little haywire, the deal needed more work. All of a
Actually,
sudden they're like,
it wasn't a real estate company, but a real estate group.
group,
You know,
yeah,
the groups and all that. And
sure,
within that, talk with people. A lot of folks come to these real estate groups like Future Sound Real Estate Investment,
right,
groups. And we got involved with one of them, pretty large group. And then I would say, yeah, I can help you out.
sure. And it didn't turn out, but now you've got this book, so people definitely watching this want to take advantage of that. Reach out to you, get the book. Now talk to us about some of the projects that you're involved in now, you're getting involved in the future, because you're doing some really exciting stuff in some of the niche parts of real estate. Speak to that a little bit for folks that are, just kind of figuring out
Yes,
where to go.
yes. One of the niche parts I'm looking at is because my mother and my grandmother, as we're getting older, and especially my grandmother, bless her heart, she passed away
Sure.
already. But anyway, I saw her in the nursing homes. She'd been in one of the big nursing home centers and all this good. And the attention, she didn't get much attention when she was in
Hmm.
the nursing home, basically. I went there about once a week to visit, as I try to, at least say, be the one that's, I'm there, so I keep an eye on these folks to make sure that she'd be okay.
Right.
But, knowing that, sometimes she complained to me about something, one thing or the other or another. And I always got the impression that they're not really doing their best because they're so big. And then later, when her life started declining, she was moved to a home where like a respite home, something like that. And that
Hmm.
was no thinking. It says, no, this is pretty nice. People really cared about her, overseed her, anytime she needs a problem that was there. And I says, this is the way they should go. Have a assisted living, residential assisted living home, for seniors, for those who they don't have to be, like a respite care where they have to pass anything like that, but you know, to have be a group of about 6 to 8 people where they come in and somebody's there to assist them because they just need minor assistance on this. I said that's the way to go. That's what we need. We need more of that, especially with our population aging. The baby boomers are at that point right now where they need more assisted living homes for folks to live. So I'm getting to that niche now, looking to place different assisted living homes around the Seattle area to help
Wonderful.
folks. Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks that are getting older and they're looking for a good place, to live. And I sort of had the similar experience. My grandma passed away, and she stayed in her home all the way up till the end. But if
Mm-hmm.
she hadn't, we would have liked for her just personally, just to be in a home-like environment. And the residential, assisted living homes, depending on where you live, 6 to 14 seniors living in a home style, house in a neighborhood, being taken care of, by, good ratios, people taking, cooking meals for them, private rooms, semi-private. I mean, it's the whole thing, but it's more of that, more of that at home feeling.
Right. And they have some company, they don't want to be sit around just look out the window all the time. There's some activities for them to do as well. Might
Right.
come in. You get volunteers that come in and sit there and sing with them about once a week. So,
Isn't that great?
yeah, that is great.
And do you see a lot of them already in the Seattle area? Or are you kind of going to be maybe more, a little bit more on the trailblazing side?
Well, there are a few in the Seattle area, but not many. So
Mm. Yeah. So you'll be
look,
kind of on the cutting edge of those. And talk about financials, different pro formas that you've looked at, people that you've talked to in the industry. You both know a lot of people. The cash flow I've seen is really, really strong. It's a good,
yes, yes,
it helps the people, but it's also good financially. And to me, if I'm thinking about investing in your deal from a private lender's perspective, I want to be involved in deals that have good margins. They have lots of wiggle room, because to me, it
yes.
makes my investment, I just feel more comfortable with it. Is that the way you feel too?
That is correct. Like, well, depending on the areas you're in, you could charge, a very good rate for
Hmm.
per person for a home, on a month by month basis. And that is substantial enough to pay for the home itself, pay for the assisted living that's divided and some cooks that come and make the meal, basically. So it's a good all the way around. One
Yep.
for the client that's there, one for the person who's wanting to manage, as well as for the investors who want to invest into it.
Yeah. I agree. I always like things where that have to get a lot of approval because when you do that, it really limits the ability for there to be an oversupply because it's something where you can't just open them and the state or the city that has no say. And so I like things like that from an investing perspective because it limits the total supply, which makes me feel safer on the cash flow side. Did you kind of see the same thing or have any
Yes,
thoughts around that?
yes, I do see the same thing because, like I said, right now the state of Washington, it only limits you to one for the first year, and then another one. But after you've been seasoned, they allow you to open up a little bit more. So it's very restricted here.
Yeah, but that's not bad, and that's good. So that way, so that from a private lender perspective, adds a little bit more, that's more perceived value because there's already some built-in mechanisms to keep just one person who doesn't know a lot from, but being really good at talking of opening, 10 of these things up at once and not having the operations, to really support it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Very cool. What are some other restrictions in your state? Is there a certain number of people that can live in the home? What's the kind of the range around that?
Well, the range right now for a home is 6 to 8.
Okay.
You know, Now, like I said, so depending on the number of rooms you have, if you have like 4 rooms, it's 6 to 8, I believe it is. And after that, I don't think they want any larger homes here in the state, basically. I think they might open it up another year or two after you have a few of them under your belt. Then they might open to maybe 12, and that's the max.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, it's a great opportunity. I think it's a great niche, and I'm excited for you as you're starting to get those going and get your projects going. So we're gonna kind of round it out here. You've given some really good value. Just one more time, let folks know best way to reach out to you, just to talk to you about what's happening in real estate in the Seattle market, and get a copy of your new book that teaches a private lender essentially what to look for so that that they don't make the same mistakes that most people have to make. You've created this how-to guide that really simplifies it. So what's the best way they can reach out and get a copy of that?
Yes, the best way right now is to reach me by email, and that's crystalspring98188 at gmail.com. So Crystal
Cool.
Spring 98188 at gmail.com.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. I'm excited to see how things continue to prosper and grow for you as your operation just continues to expand. And thank you for being involved in getting private lenders educated and saving a lot of people a lot of heartache with their hard-earned money. It's
Absolutely.
truly a blessing to have educators and advocates that are out there. They're putting themselves out there and they're educating the community on what the options are and then just letting people decide what's best for them. That's a
Absolutely.
truly awesome service.
Yes, that's what I want to do.
Awesome. All right. Well,
That's always the key is education.
good. Well, keep up the good work. And we'd love to have you come back on soon and kind of get an update on how some of your projects are going.
Okay, excellent. We'll do.
Wonderful. All right. We'll talk soon. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And if you like this show, then just check out some of our other episodes and definitely reach out to Leonard. He's a wealth of information and he'd love to help you. And until next time, take care. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Got it.
All right.